the International Scientific and Practical Conference, Digital Architecture, Construction and Artificial Intelligence for the Creative Economy, on the occasion of 45th anniversary of KazGASA leading Academy of Architecture and Civil Engineering. Today, architecture, construction, and engineering are undergoing a profound transformation. Digital technologies, artificial intelligence, building information modeling, robotics, additive manufacturing, and big data analytics are becoming integral parts of the modern professional environment. Artificial intelligence is already changing approaches to the design, engineering, calculators, construction management, building operation, and urban development. It enables faster data analysis, more efficient education making, and improved safety, energy efficiency, and sustainability of facilities. The creative economy is creating a new demand for the specialists who can combine engineering thinking, digital skills, innovation, and creativity. Therefore, it's especially important today to strengthen the integration of education, science, industry, and business. Our conference serves as a platform for the open professional dialogue among leading researchers, architects, engineers, designers, industrial representatives, international experts, and partners of our universities. This year, the conference has brought together scientists, experts, and professionals from Malaysia, Japan, China, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, Spain, Turkey, Pakistan, and United Kingdom, Russian Federation, Azerbaijan, and Lithuania, which highlights the international significance of our event, the growing importance of the global academic and professional cooperation. I'm confident that this conference will present valuable ideas, new research findings, promising projects, and practical solutions that will contribute to the development of the architectural and construction sector, digital technologies, and modern engineering science. I wish all participants productive work, engaging discussions, new professional connections, and successful exchange of experience. I hereby declare that International Scientific and Practical Conference, Digital Architecture, Construction, and Artificial Intelligence for the Creative Economy official open. Now, the floor is now given to our distinguished guests for their welcoming remarks. And the first word I will give to our co-organizers and partners from Malaysia, Benjamin Leong, Deputy Managing Director of the International Cultural Communication Central, Malaysia. Please, the floor.
Thank you so much. The Honorable Dr. Bhatia, Director of the International Education Corporation from the KazGASA, distinguished guests, respected colleagues, researchers, students from across the globe. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. On behalf of the International Cultural Communication Center Malaysia, ICCCM, and in my capacity representing our motherboard, the International Transnational Education Association, ITIA. It is a great honor to stand before you today as we inaugurate the distinguished International Scientific Practical Conference today. We are very truly privileged to collaborate with our esteemed partners at KazGASA on this significant and forward-looking occasion. The theme of our gatherings, Digital Architecture, Construction, Artificial Intelligence for the Creative Economy, reflects not only an academic priority, but also strategic development agenda that is increasingly shared across the region. From the Southeast Asia to Central Asia, nations are accelerating digital transformation as part of our, and also the economic diversifications and sustainable development goals. Today, we are witnessing a profound shift where technologies such as building information modeling, digital twins, and artificial intelligence are no longer optional innovations but essential infrastructures supporting the smart city, resilient construction cost system, and also the data-driven governance. In this context, the ASEAN Central Asia corridor presents a highly promising frontier of the cooperation. ASEAN, as a dynamic regional bloc, has made significant progress in digital integration, smart urban development, education, internationalizations. Central Asia, on the other hand, it is emerging as a strategically positioned region with a strong ambition in infrastructure modernizations, innovation, global academy engagement. The convergence of these two regions offers immense potential for policy alignment, knowledge transfer, and also co-development as ICCCM and also ITIA. We see our role not merely as participants, but as a facilitators of structured, multi-level cooperation between the region. At the institutional level, we aim not only to promote joint academic programs as a pathway, but also like collaborative research in digital architecture, AI applications, and as well as the sustainable construction. For the faculty and student multi-initiative that enhance cross-cultural competencies, share the digital platform for continuous learning and capacity building. And on the other hand, our association also aiming for like collaboration on the ministry level and also the policy level, as the ASEAN Central Asia collaboration can be further strengthened through dialogue on quality assurance frameworks, mutual recognition mechanism, alignment of digital education standards and competencies, support for the nation digital economy blueprints, particularly in smart infrastructure and also the creative industries. Engagement with the ministries, accreditation agencies, and development bodies to ensure that academic collaborations transfer into the policy relevant outcomes. Through ITIA, international networks, and also ICCCM platform-based approach, we are committed to bridging these levels, ensure that partnerships are not only symbolic, but operational, scalable, and also policy supported. Importantly, we must recognize that the creative economy supported by the digital architecture and AI is not only about technology. It is about people, culture, and sustainable future. ASEAN and Central Asia both possesses rich culture and architecture heritage, and also through the digital innovation, we have the opportunity to preserve, reinterpret, elevate these identities on the global stage. Over the next 2 days, as we engage in plenary sessions, panel discussion, I encourage all of the participants to explore not only technological advancements, but also on how are we going to enhance on the collaboration that can be contributed to inclusive economic growth, sustainable urban development, and stronger inter-regional connectivity between ASEAN and Central Asia. I would like to express my sincere appreciation to the organizing committee and also the leadership of the KazGASA for their vision, dedication, and warm hospitality. I wish you all productive, insightful, inspirations conference. It is my pleasure to join my distinguished colleagues in declaring this International Scientific Practical Conference officially open. And thank you so much, and happy 45th anniversary to our partners. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Mr. Leon, first of all, again, for the support to our conference and your meaningful words. Thanks so much. And the next word I want to give to our also the partner, the Nasruddin Asluddin from the Central Asia Regional Manager of International Cultural Communication Center, Malaysia. The floor is yours. Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you. Today actually I'm giving the information about our association, what we do, and why we are here, and how did we organize this conference together with KazGASA. So As you can see, it's a great honor to speak today about the important work of growing of the International Transnational Education Association. In today's interconnected world, education is no longer confined by borders. Students, educators, institutions are increasingly engaging across countries, cultures, and systems. So this is where International Transnational Education Association plays a vital role. So actually we have two main projects which is we work with the government like associations similar to the Ministry of Higher Education and also with the national qualification agencies. This is our one field of this cooperation where directly we work for the development of joint curriculum development, program standards, and as well as occupational standards. So on another side, we work directly with the institutions, which is we work on the field of conferences where we co-host organized conferences, and also we have a project which is called Friendship Institute, which we directly organize with our partner institutions together. Besides this, we also have online training for the students to explore, and also we have professional development program for the professors as well as for the lecturers of the universities. So besides this, we have other programs which is we organize directly with the institutions, which is on competitions for the students to participate, and then by then we give the students certificates and some other opportunities. Yeah. Besides that, also we also work with industries as well, so that the students, after completing their studies, so directly they got involved in job opportunity. So this is another field which we are working directly hand by hand with the institutions around the world. So just to give you a clear information about our association, currently we are working with more than 60 countries around the globe, with more than 2,000 institutions and also government agencies. So we are welcome actually all of our good partners and our future partners to cooperate with us in this area to boost the cooperation in international levels. So besides this, we also have actually one more thing to share, which is we have international journal where the lecturers and also the students can publish their research easily in our journals. Yeah. So thank you so much for giving us this opportunity, and also we are actually proud to be part of this conference as well. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Mr. Abdin. We met around 3 years ago, and it was the first contact with ICCM and in Central Asia. And I hope that ICCM will become a stronger bridge from the Asia and Central Asia countries and universities for the fruitful cooperation in the future. Thanks so much. And next word I want to give to our President of International Turkic Cultural Heritage Foundation of KazGASA, is Dr. Brian Coleman. Please, first of all.
Good morning, dear colleagues, dear friends, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to congratulate all of you at the International Scientific and Practical Conference dedicated to the anniversary of the Academy. I'm very happy to be here with you, and let me continue my speech in Azerbaijan and Kazakh language. Hürmetli hanımlar ve canablar, her birinizi Azerbaycan Respublikası Prezidenti Cenab Zati Ali, Cenab İlham Aliyev'in teşebbüsü ve Kazakistan, Kırgızistan, Türkiye, Özbekistan devlet başkanlarının desteğiyle yaratılan Türk Medeniyetine İrsi Fondu adına Güneşli Bakı'dan Azerbaycan her birinizi yürekten salamlayıram. Hürmetli hanımlar ve mırsalar, bugün men осы sizlerle birge осы халықаралық ғылыми және практикалық конференцияда болуымды өте бақытты деп санаймын. Бәріңізді шын жүректен құттықтап, өзімнің құрметпен сіздерге хатымды оқып беруге рұқсат етіңіздер. Біздің түркі мәдениеті және мұрасы қоры Баку қаласында, Әзербайжанда бүкіл түркі дүниесінің мәдениетін және мұрасын сақтайтын, өздеріңізбен бірге, осы академиямен бірге, ұстаздарыңызбен бірге, студенттермен, магистранттармен бірге сақтайтын әртүрлі жобаларға бірге қатысатынымды өте қуанышпен айтуға рұқсат етіңіздер және өзімнің хатымды оқуға рұқсат етіңіздер. Құрметті ұстаздар мен студенттер, қадірлі ағайындар, құрметті Бақтияр Асылбайұлы, сіздерді түркі мәдениеті және мұрасы қоры атынан Әзербайжаннан, шуақты астанасы Баку қаласынан сәлемімді жолдай отырып, еліміздің сәулет және құрылыс саласында көшбасшысы, білім ордаларының бірі саналатын Қазақ бас сәулет және құрылыс академиясының 45 жылдық мерейтойымен шын жүректен құттықтауға рұқсат етіңіздер. 45 жыл бұл тек уақыт өлшемі ғана емес, бұл қалыптасу мен кемелденудің, дәстүр мен жаңашылдықтың, табанды еңбек пен толайым жетістіктердің жарқын шежіресі. Осы кезең ішінде академия сәулет, құрылыс, дизайн және инженерлік бағыттарда жоғары білікті мамандар даярлап, ел дамуына өлшеусіз үлес қосып келе жатқан іргелі білім ордасына айналды. Халықаралық деңгейде мойындалып, беделді Belt and Road Architectural University International Consortium құрамына енуі, сондай-ақ білім мен ғылымды ұштастырған халықаралық білім беру корпорациясының құрылуы, оқу орнының биік ғылыми әлеуеті мен кәсіби деңгейінің айқын дәлелі. Бұл академия ұжымының қажырлы еңбегі мен ізденісінің жемісі. Айрықша атап өтер жайт, 2025 жылы академия қабырғасында әкімшілік бастамасымен және қорымыздың қолдауымен құрылған түркі мәдениеті және мұрасы орталығы түркі дүниесінің ортақ рухани құндылықтарын зерделеп, насихаттауға бағытталған маңызды мәдени ғылыми алаңға айналып отыр. Бұл орталық ғылым мен мәдениетті тоғыстыра отырып, жас ұрпақтың тарихи санасын қалыптастыруға, түркі халықтарының бай мұрасын жүйелі түрде зерттеуге және халықаралық ынтымақтастықты нығайтуға сүбелі үлес қосуда. Оның қызметі ортақ тамырымызды терең танып, рухани сабақтастықты жалғастыру жолындағы игі бастама. Осы сәтті пайдалана отырып, Қазақ бас сәулет және құрылыс академиясы ұжымына шынайы алғысымды білдіруге рұқсат етіңіздер. Сіздердің еңбектеріңіз білім және ғылымға адал қызмет етудің, ұрпақ тәрбиесіне деген жауапкершіліктің жарқын көрінісі. Айтулы мерейтойда баршаңызға зор денсаулық, шығармашылық шабыт, жаңа жетістіктер мен толағай табыстар тілеймін. Студент жастарға биік арман, нық қадам мен жарқын болашақ серік болғай. Мерейтой құтты болсын. Құрметпен Ақтоты Рахметоллақызы Райымқұлова, түркі мәдениеті және мұрасы қорының президенті, өнертану ғылымдарының докторы, профессор. Той мерейтой құтты болсын. Осы менің жүрек жарды құттықтауымды құрметті осы академияның ректоры, құрметті Бақтияр Асылбайұлы сізге беруге рұқсат етіңіздер және өзімізден кішігірім ғана Әзербайжан қолөнершілердің жасаған кішкене ғана осындай біздің сыйымызды үлкен қуанышпен сіздерге беруге рұқсат етіңіздер.
На нас покажите, пожалуйста. Бахтияр, на нас покажите. Көп рахмет.
Рахмет. Көп рахмет, Ақтоты Рахметоллақызы. Өзіңізді құрметті спикер қонақ ретінде көргенімізге өте қуаныштымыз. Сіздермен бірге былтырдан бері өте тығыз жұмыс жасап келеміз. Сіздердің қорларыңыздың қолдау арқасында керемет зертханамыз ашылды. Енді болашақта осы зертханамыз осы түрк елдері мәдениетін that 이전 대면 오다 타임아웃 비행 괜찮습니다. 막내로. And next, our speaker is greetings and congratulatory remarks. I will give the floor to the Takeshi Shimada, the Chief Representative of Mitsui Corporation in Kazakhstan from Japan.
Assalamualaikum. I am Takeshi Shimada. I'm representative of Japanese company Mitsui. Mitsui is a kind of conglomerate of Japan, which has approximately 130 offices in the world, and we have maybe in 50 countries we have business. In Kazakhstan also we are actively working for many business fields like oil and gas, mineral resources. And this time I'm here to introduce the Japanese technology, especially for the fields of safety. First, dear rector, dear distinguished faculty members, students, partners, and honored guests, it is a great honor and pleasure to join you on this special occasion and to extend my sincere congratulations to KazGASA on the celebration of its 45th anniversary. 45th anniversary is a meaningful occasion for any institution. It is a time to honor its history, recognize its development, and celebrate the people who have shaped its success. KazGASA's journey has begun in 1980s with the establishment of the Almaty Architecture and Construction Institute. Over the decades, it grew and evolved, becoming part of the International Educational Corporation in 2007. The university has further strengthened its position as a respected center of education, innovation, and professional excellence. Over the course of these decades, KazGASA has played an important role in educating talented and ambitious professionals, and in advancing the fields of architecture, engineering, design, and construction in Kazakhstan. Institutions such as KazGASA make a lasting contribution not only to education, but also to the broader development of society. By preparing highly skilled and forward-looking specialists, the university helps shape the human capital that is essential for sustainable progress, innovation, and international cooperation. On this remarkable occasion, I'd like to express special appreciation to Rector and for your leadership, vision, and continued support of the university development. As KazGASA makes this important anniversary, please accept once again my sincere wishes for continued success, academic excellence, and many new achievements in the years to come. As a part of international company, Mitsui, we also would like to contribute to the development of KazGASA and accordingly to the development of Kazakhstan economy, especially in the field of introduction of Japanese seismic technology. Japan also has a lot of experience for struggling from the earthquakes, so that's one of the topics for us for present today. Once again, congratulations on the distinguished 40 years. Thank you. Ahmed.
Thanks so much. Your organization and our university have a great cooperation, and I hope that we are sharing our experience also from the infrastructural and earthquake systematic technologies also. Thanks so much. And our next guest with his greetings and congratulatory remarks, the Guajun Kei, PhD professor from President of Anhui Jiangsu University, our strategic partner from Browning. The microphone is yours. Our president will join in online.
对应的8个 G2萨布根叶夫校长，尊敬的各位同仁， 老师们、同学们、女士们、先生们，大家好！在这春意盎然的美好时节，我很高兴通过在线视频与贵校全体师生员工欢聚一堂，共同庆祝哈萨克斯坦建筑与土木工程学院建校45周年华诞。在此，我谨代表安徽建筑大学向贵校全体师生员工和广大校友致以最热烈的祝贺和最诚挚的问候。45载风雨兼程，45载春华秋实，哈萨克斯坦建筑与土木工程学院作为哈萨克斯坦建筑与设计领域的顶尖学府，自建校以来，始终秉持严谨的治学精神，为哈萨克斯坦乃至中亚地区培养了无数杰出的建筑大师、土木工程师和城乡规划专家。贵校在传承民族建筑文化、推动现代工程技术革新方面取得了卓越成就，赢得了国际教育界的广泛赞誉。治和者不以山海为源，中国与哈萨克斯坦是山水相连的友好邻居，也是“一带一路”倡议下重要的合作伙伴。安徽建筑大学作为一所以土木建筑类学科为特色的多个性大学，始终秉持开放办学的理念，积极服务国家教育对外开放战略。作为“一带一路”建筑类大学国际联盟的重要成员单位，我们与贵校有着深厚的学术连结和共同的价值追求。2025年，两校正式签署合作友好协议，在科研合作、人才联合培养等方面达成了多项共识，为深化中哈两国建筑与土木工程领域务实合作搭建了坚实桥梁。我们不仅是有着共同学科基因的同行者，更是致力于推动全球建筑教育创新发展的合伙人。建筑是凝固的音乐，是时代的缩影，也是文明的载体。当前，面对气候变化、城市化进程加速以及智慧城市建设的浪潮，建筑类高校肩负着比以往任何时候都更加重要的使命。我们期待以贵校45周年校庆为新的起点，进一步深化两校之间的合作。一是深化师生互访，让更多年轻人成为中法友谊的使者；二是加强科研协同，在绿色建筑、抗震防灾、遗产保护等领域开展联合攻关；三是共享教育资源，探索在线课程共建与合作办学的新模式。今天，虽然我无法亲临阿拉木图这座美丽的城市，亲身体验现场热烈的氛围，但通过屏幕，我依然能感受到贵校师生的蓬勃朝气与昂扬风貌。最后，再次衷心祝愿哈萨克斯坦建筑与土木工程学院在新的征程上鸿福更展，再谱华章。祝愿贵校全体师生身体健康，工作顺利，学业有成。预祝本次校庆系列活动取得圆满成功。谢谢大家 ，Thank you。
Thanks so much, Professor. Actually, Часть University, one of the leading university in fields like architectural and civil engineering in China. Also, as the professor said, we are not partners only in paper. We are only it's our great friends, and this year we are making a cooperation and started from the academic mobility from our students and our academic staff also. Thanks so much, Professor, for your attitude and warm welcome speech. And next words I want to give to my colleague and present the youngest rector of in our country, rector of the Kazakh Automobile and Road Institute named after Goncharov, Mr. Davlen Gisendai. Associate Professor and speaker.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues. It's a pleasure and honor to welcome you today. With your kind permissions, I will continue my remark in Kazakh. Құрметті Бақтияр Асылбайұлы, құрметті халықаралық білім беру корпорациясының ұжымы. Қазақ бас сәулет құрылыс академиясының 45 жылдық мерейтойымен шын жүректен құттықтаймыз. 45 жыл бұл оқу орнының қалыптасу кезеңі ғана емес, ұлттық сәулет және құрылыс білімінің дамуына ауқымды үлесті айқындайтын маңызды белес. Осы уақыттың ішінде академия кәсіби дәстүрі қалыптасқан, ғылыми ізденіс пен шығармашылық ой тоғысқан. Еліміздің сәулет құрылыс саласына білікті мамандар даярлайтын беделді білім ордасына айналды. Академияның дамуы тек білім беру саласына жетістігі ғана емес, сонымен қатар еліміздің қалалық кеңістігін дамыту, заманауи сәулет мәдениетін қалыптастыру және инженерлік ойдың өркендеуін қосылған маңызды үлес. Бұл қалыптасқан ғылыми мектептердің кәсіби ұстанымдардың және ұжымның еңбек нәтижесі. Бүгін академия халықаралық беру кеңесіндегі өзіндік орны бар. Заманауи білім мен инновациялық
Коллеги, конференция вообще началась.
Что-то
ничего не слышно или что-то не так.
Осы айтулы мерейтойы оқу орнының жаңа жетістіктеріне бастайтын тарихи кезеңі болып, алдағы уақытта ғылым білім саласында жаңа белестерді бағындыруға жол ашады деп сенеміз. Сізге зер денсаулық, шығармашылық шабыт, ал жұмысқа тұрақты даму, ғылыми жетістіктер мен жаңа ауқымды бастамалардың табысын жүзеге асуын тілейміз. Мерейтой құтты болсын.
Если честно, в 10 же начинается. Может быть, еще время есть. Мне сказали, что начало конференции в 10.
10:11 уже.
У нас сейчас 10.
Останови.
В 11 начинается.
Почему не в 11, 10? По Казахстану.
Сори, да, я извиняюсь.
Казахское время, сейчас скажу. Вот они пишут в 10:00. Странно.
Это регистрация, потом в 10 торжественное открытие.
Торжественное открытие, казахское время. Потом приветствие и поздравление почетных гостей. Ничего не понятно. Я сейчас нафотографирую нас, что вот мы сидим. Странно.
Morning, dear Rector Professor Asılbay. Dear professors and the students of the Kazakh leading architecture and construction university, dear guests and participants of the conference. On behalf of the Kyrgyz State Technical University and myself, let me express our congratulations and best wishes on the team of KazGASA on such a great event. 45th anniversary of the KazGASA. I would like to highlight that our university has a very long-term intern partnership as well as brothership. I studied and started my work at the Frunze Polytechnic Institute, and which became Kyrgyz construction and Architecture Institute, which became Kyrgyz State University of Construction and Transport and Architecture later.
Это доклад?
KazGASA and the ASI had similar curricula.
Ну, наверное,
Лидерская стипендия, докторальная кандидат тезис
Это
ASI
доклад?
and the Kyrgyz State University of Construction, Transport and Architecture merged into the Razakh Kyrgyz State Technical University in 2022. Today, our university is a leading technical university in Kyrgyzstan with more than 27,000 students and the QS ranked top 400 university. KS2 trains students and the young scientists in many fields, including architecture and civil engineering. Today, we are very interested in strengthening our academic and research collaboration with KazGASA. We wish high energy, every success and the new achievements to KazGASA leadership, teachers and the students. I wish successful conference on such advanced digital architecture, civil engineering and artificial intelligence. Thank you very much. And then we have some small souvenirs to our. So our rector couldn't during this great event.
Thanks so much again to our partners from Kyrgyzstan. And next word, we give to our also the brotherhood country from the Tashkent Construction and Architecture Universities. Please, floor is yours.
Assalamu alaikum. Dear organizers of the conference, distinguished participants and guests, on behalf of the Tashkent University Architecture and Civil Engineering, and on my own behalf, I sincerely congratulate you on the opening of this prestigious international academic and practical conference. In modern conditions, the harmonious development of architecture, construction, and digital technologies is becoming one of the key factors of global progress. This conference serves as an important platform for strengthening the integration of science, innovation, and practice, as well as for exchanging experience and establishing new partnership. Of particular importance is the discussion of advanced ideas and solutions in the field of sustainable development, digital construction, artificial intelligence, and contemporary architecture within the framework of the conference. I am confident that the outcomes of the conference will form a solid foundation for achieving significant scientific results and fostering long-term mutually beneficial cooperation. I wish all participants good health, great success in their scientific endeavors and productive work during the conference, respectively. Thank you so much.
Here. Yeah, we have something for you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, like.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much again, and I want to express my gratitude to all the speakers, all the guests for having time to joining us to the International Scientific and Practical Conference, and for your warm words and the memorable gifts. So nowadays, it's a time is most valuable, I think, and we see all you today. It's a main present for us. So today, our conference gatherings experts, professors from all around the world, and now our next presentation, we are started the panel session. This is devoted to the experience of Spain in integrating artificial intelligence, digital architecture, and civil engineering into the technical education. This topic is especially relevant today as the universities around the world are rethinking the educational models to meet the demands of the digital economy and the rapidly changing labor market. We are pleased to invite the speaker to present the topic, artificial intelligence, digital architecture, and civil engineering in Spain's technical education, the new models of creative economy, the professor Ignacio Menendez. Please.
Okay. Good morning, everybody, dear rector, dear colleagues, students, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor for me to take part in this celebration, the 40th anniversary of KazGASA. A moment like this is not only about the past, it's also about the future, and especially about the role that the technical universities must play in shaping that future. My name is Ignacio Menendez. I come from the School of Civil Engineering of Madrid at the Universidad Politécnica de Madrid, and my perspective today is both academic and professional. It comes from engineering, from education, and also from many years linked to project management and construction management. The main idea of my talk is simple. The future of technical education will not be defined only by teaching new software tools. It will be defined by our ability to educate professionals who can cut across the whole life of an asset, from design to delivery, from operation to renewal, and from data to decision. In that context, artificial intelligence and digital tools are not isolated innovations. They are part of a deeper transformation in the way that we design, build, manage, and improve the built environment. Oh. Yeah. The built environment is no longer static. From many decades, engineering and architecture worked with a relatively linear logic. We plan it, we design it, we build, and later we operate it and maintain it. Information moves slowly, and feedback between the physical world and the model was limited. Today, that situation is changing very quickly. As the diagram on this slide shows, the relation between the physical asset and the virtual model is becoming continuous. Sensor, monitoring system, data management, simulation, visualization, and intelligent tools now connect the physical and digital worlds in both directions. This means that an infrastructure is no longer only a physical object. It is also an information environment. It is also a decision environment. Roads, stations, dams, campuses, and urban systems can now be monitored, updated, analyzed, and simulated in ways that we were impossible before. So the change is not only technological, it is professional and equally personal. If reality has changed, then the profile of the engineer, the architect, and the manager must also change. We need people who understand not only design, but also data systems coordination and decision making. For me, this transformation only makes full sense if we place it inside the whole life cycle as a cycle. That means that we must think about the assets from the beginning to the end: plan, design, build, operate, maintain, renew, and govern. This is essential because the real value of digitalization does not appear in only one phase. It appears when the information and intelligence are useful across the whole life cycle. In the early phases, structured modeling and BIM are very important. They help us to define, coordinate, and present the data accordingly. During delivery, project management and construction management remain critical because this is where cost, time, risk, stakeholders, and execution must be congruent in the real world. Later, in operation and maintenance, digital twins, sensing, and AI become more powerful because they support monitoring, prediction, optimization, and better decisions. The opportunity is listed in the presentation as management, predictive maintenance, and safety, and scenario analysis clearly shows the life cycle of learning. So our educational science is not sample to add digital tools to traditional programs. It is to educate professionals who can understand and act across the full life cycle of assets and infrastructure. From being something was wrong. Oh, I don't know. I think it's something that I'm talking in different. Just I think it's change something to it. It's okay. Okay, it's very useful to distinguish three related but different steps: BIM, digital twins, and EA. First, BIM gives us structured representation. It allows us to organize geometry, attributes, coordination, and in a much richer way than traditional documentation. In that sense, BIM is already much more than drawing. Second, digital twins not just a model. As this presentation explained, it is a virtual information constructed mimics the structure, context, and behavior of an infrastructure. Is dynamically updated with data from its physical twin, has predictive capability, and informs decisions that create various value. The key points will be the directional interaction between the physical and the virtual. And third, AI adds capacity to detect patterns, automate repetitive tasks, classify information, and so on. Something from here, sorry. I don't know why. This brings the educational gap. This brings us directly to the educational gap. Diversity were built around disciplines. That was logical, and disciplines still matter. We still need strong engineers, strong architects, and strong specialists, and rigorous technical foundations. But today, industry increasingly needs something more. It needs integrators. It needs professionals who can connect design, data, pre-delivery, operation standards, and decision processes. It needs help. It needs people who can move more between modeling management, digital tools, and real infrastructure problems. That, in my opinion, is the right direction. The challenge is not only adding one subject on AI or one workshop on digital twins. The challenge is deeper. It is to redesign formation so that the future professionals can understand the full life cycle of assets and can work across the boundaries within disciplines, tools, and functional realities. That is where the real educational transformation begins. So, what does serious responsibility look like? It looks like an educational ecosystem connected with industry and validated for real cases. The slides in this presentation show that clear executive master designed for professionals in the built environment, with blended teaching, international scope, project-based learning, industrial mentorship, and strong networking. The capstone projects are especially important because they are bringing education into contact with reality. The examples shown here are including real acquisition and digital twins, human digital twins with aim. Amongst that, another way, renewal and safety, bridge monitoring, station operation, and tunnel optimization. They are not abstract exercises, they are real cases linked to the real infrastructures and real companies. That is why the kind of ecosystem is so valuable. It connects formal education, executive education, industry collaboration, research, and practical application all together. And when education touches reality, it becomes much stronger. So, my message for KazGASA, let me finish with this. Institutions with strong technical traditions are not behind this transformation. On the contrary, they are in an excellent position to lead. As schools with strong identity and technical seriousness already has the most difficult foundation. What is needed now is to expand the foundation toward the future. The future of technical education will not come from replacing classical engineering or architecture. It will come from enlarging them. We must connect design with delivery, operation with intelligence, and technical rigor with digital capability. The final slides of this presentation also shows that this educational ecosystem can continue growing through micro-credentials, spec courses, informal education, evidence and new sector applications, from mobility and logistics to roads, marine, water, structural engineering. So my final idea is this: the next engineer will not only build infrastructure, he or she will also build intelligence into infrastructure. And the universities that understand this early will not only adapt better, they will lead better. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor. Yeah, thank you for insightful presentation and strong message to our university. Thanks so much. It's a quote that next engineer will not construct only infrastructure, they will construct intelligence of infrastructure. I think it's meaningful and valuable for all of us. Құрметті әріптестер, бізде арнайы біздің конференциямызға келген фотограф қайталатқызылы жарты күнге ғана арнайы бақылаудан ұшып келген еді. Сондықтан рұқсат болса, бізде мындай ұшағының уақыты келген екен. Сондықтан сізге көп рахмет.
Ең алдымен сіздерге қуанышылық тілеймін, жақсылық тілеймін. Жас ет болса да халықаралық деңгейде керемет сіздердің жұмыстарыңыз көріліп жатыр. Біз енді халықаралық деңгейде сіздермен бірге біздің түркі дүниесінің мәдениетін, мұрасын алып қалуға, өркейтуге әрқашанда ниеттіміз. Сіздерге жақсылық, аманшылық тілеймін. Кешірім сұраймын.
Сізге арнайы естелік сыйлығымыз бар еді, соны табыстауға рұқсат етсеңіз.
Azerbaycanca söyleyip ағылшынша сөйлеп, қазақ тілін
Біз арнайы біздің бізге осы қолдау білдіріп, жалпы осы білім, мәдениет, өнер саласына өзінің үлесін қосып жүрген азаматтарымызға арнайы университетіміздің 45 жылдық медалін дайындаған болатынбыз. Соны өзіңізге табыстауға рұқсат етіңіз. The next presentation addresses on the key challenges of modern structural engineering, minimizing damage in seismic resistant structure. Today, it's important not only to ensure the safety of building during earthquakes, but also reduce damage, prevent functional and minimize recovery caused after seismic event. We invite Thomas Drouin, the engineer, International Division Kawaki Ortec from Japan, with the topic approach to design with minimal damage in seismic resistant structures. Thanks so much, and floor is yours.
Thank you very much for the very kind introduction. Good morning, everyone. My name is Thomas Drouin. I'm representing here a Japanese company, but I'm originally from France. And yeah, I've been invited here thanks to the collaboration with Mitsui and the nice introduction before by Mr. Shimada from Mitsui Corporation. And would like also to extend my gratitude once again for the invitation to come here for the 45th anniversary of KazGASA University. And yeah, I would like today to discuss a bit about the core business of my company, which is advanced seismic engineering and seismic devices for bridges and for buildings. And especially, I would like today to share some insights and yeah, how do we see seismic engineering in Japan, one of the most earthquake-prone countries in the world. So thank you very much already for your attention. So yeah, my first slide here, as you can see, there is a little fish right under the city. I like to use this as an introductory slide. It shows the deep connection of Japanese mythology from early time with earthquakes who deal with these natural disasters for a very long time in Japan. And this little catfish is in the mythology the one who creates the earthquake by moving under the earth. I think in my next slide here you can see some very old representations from more than 600 years ago about this catfish under the earth causing the earthquakes. Since then, we're trying to improve a little bit our understanding about this phenomena and how can we deal with phenomena and makes our structures and our society resilient to earthquakes. So Japan, as you can see here, is located in very earthquake-prone regions. We have earthquakes, 20% of the world's with magnitude 6 plus earthquake in the world arrives and happens in Japan. We are in between 3 different seismic faults, and we had a lot of different very big events which led to a lot of loss of lives and properties. But this is also the case in Central Asia. Central Asia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan is also an extremely earthquake-prone country. You can see here on this map the assembled data of all the earthquakes that happened since 2000 before Christ in time, which I think is very impressive data that we could find about this region. We can see Kazakhstan, not only Kazakhstan, but also Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, all those countries, and especially all of the industrial hubs and most of the population is located near high seismically active regions. earthquakes leads to the loss of lives and properties through the damage in structural elements of a building, but also non-structural elements, not only losing the building itself, but also its contents. And even in recent earthquakes, for example, the Christchurch earthquake in New Zealand in 2011, the Christchurch city center, most of these buildings were built according to the latest design codes, using conventional design approaches. And after the earthquake, most of those buildings were still standing. So we understood, or we managed to build structures and to make them resilient and to avoid the collapse of the structures during earthquakes using conventional approach. However, what you can see on the right side here is only a few months after the earthquake. And what you can see is that 70% of those buildings had to be turned down because they sustained too heavy damage. So on one side, engineering society was quite happy with the results of the latest design code that they prevented the collapse. However, we also realized that it is not sustainable approach to use only conventional approach because when large earthquakes happens, then we need to tear down the whole buildings. And that's why what my company is doing comes into play by using advanced technologies to mitigate earthquakes and to be able to have structures resilient to earthquake with no damage in continuous operation. So in Japan, we separate design approach when it comes to earthquakes into two different families: conventional earthquake resistant design, static isolation, and vibration control. Each of those approaches can use conventional approaches and also use specific devices that enhance the protection of structures against earthquakes. That is what my company specializes in providing, designing, supplying, and providing the design solutions using these systems. So today I would like to just very briefly introduce you some of these technologies and some of these devices. So you can see here conventional approaches, basically a structure that will deform during earthquakes, that will lead to cracks, deformation, damage, and eventually even collapse of the structure. In the middle side, you have vibration control, which focuses on installing devices inside the structure to mitigate the acceleration, mitigate the deformation of the structure during earthquakes. It still uses conventional foundation approaches. On the third hand, on the right side is seismic isolation, where we separate the structure from the ground using seismic devices. So, okay, so this has no, it's just a PA, but it's fine. So conventionally, what we're trying to do, if you look at the top of my slide, which is very highly loaded right now, we always try to focus on having the structural capacity, the strength of the building larger than its demands, which is the demand from earthquakes. What we are doing when we're dealing with static isolation or vibration control is that instead of increasing the structural capacity of a structure, we're trying to reduce the demands. We're trying to reduce the amount of forces, the amount of excitations that the structure will receive during the earthquakes. And that's where all the, I would say, the ingenuity of this type of technology lies. So first, let's talk very briefly about seismic isolation. Seismic isolation conceptually is about separating the ground from the structure by building the whole building or the bridge on what we call seismic isolators. And the concept is that when the earthquake comes, when the earth starts shaking, then we don't transmit those forces to the main structures, which allows the structure to be lighter and still resist most of earthquakes that can come to it, depending on the type of earthquake we're considering during design. So everything happens at the foundation level of the structure. From a bit more theoretical point of view, what we are doing here, if you see a principal spectrum, which maybe some people familiar with seismic engineering will recognize, this is how we quantify the forces, the demands that comes to a structure during an earthquake. What we're doing with seismic isolation is from a conventional structure, which received a lot of acceleration during an earthquake, we are moving it away by making it more flexible and by increasing energy dissipation capacity. So those are these technical terms, but the main idea is that you can avoid most of the forces coming to a structure, and everything that you're building happens at the foundation level, giving you also a lot of freedom when you are designing from an architectural point of view your structure. You can have more spaces inside the structure too, thanks to this technology. The second approach is variation control. Variation control is not as efficient as static isolation. However, it still managed to reduce significantly the demands on the structure by reducing the demand here without changing its period, so without changing fundamentally its flexibility, the way it will react to the earthquake loading. And finally, you also have something that I like to put in between conventional and variation control approach is what we call a buckling restraint braces. So it's just a normal brace, a diagonal element that you can install in any structure, except that it is extremely resistant to compression. Conventionally, those element diagonal braces are strong in tension and weak in compression. With this type of devices, you can make it much stronger in compression. You can allow it to also have much more cyclic deformation capacity to sustain the cyclic deformations due to the earthquake. And that's, in a way, also this device dissipates energy, a little bit of energy, and makes the structure also more resilient to earthquakes. It uses very conventional materials like steel encased in a case of concrete. And what you see here is that the marine steel inside that concrete casing can deform and buckle, but is restrained from losing its whole bearing capacity thanks to that restraining case. It's relatively simple in the sense that it can be used using conventional design approaches. On the contrary to static isolation and variation control that uses very advanced analysis methods, very advanced design procedures, this type of braces are more cost effective and also use conventional traditional design method. It's just a normal conventional brace, but it still gives you some advantages of variation control in the sense that it reduces the demands that comes to the structure during an earthquake. So when we compare the three types of structures, that's the way we separate them in Japan, they all have their merits and demerits, their advantage and inconvenience. Conventional approach use rigidity and ductility to resist earthquake loading. It's very efficient at avoiding total collapse of structure, although it will demand a lot of detailing in your concrete elements, in your steel elements, in order to understand how the structure deforms and how it can deform as much as it needs to resist the earthquake. However, this type of methods cannot avoid structural and non-structural damages. And the reason is because those structures use damages to dissipate energy. So it doesn't matter how strong you make your beams, how strong you make your columns, you will sustain damage, plasticity, cracks in your structural elements using these methods. On the other hand, seismic isolation is a technique that is much more advanced from a design point of view, but allows you to give the structure flexibility and energy dissipation and minimize the seismic damage. This technology allows you to have a structure that is completely operational after a major seismic event. This technology is used a lot in critical infrastructures like data centers, hospitals, emergency response centers, all these critical infrastructures, data centers also, where you need that infrastructure to be up and running after a major earthquake. And the same also applies to bridges. Bridges, major access roads can also use this technology to be completely operational after a major event. It's of course has some limitations in the building's height, in soft soils, or flexible structures, although nowadays, and especially in my company, we propose hybrid solutions, more advanced static isolation system that can alleviate some of those limitations. And valuation control, which is kind of a solution that is in between, in the sense that it may not be as effective, but it will still give you that energy dissipation that will move away damage from structural elements towards those energy dissipation elements. This method is also extremely efficient to minimize or completely remove the damage during an earthquake and allow for toleration of the structure after later earthquake events. All of those devices, isolators, dampers, braces, are what we like to call maintenance-free devices, in the sense that they do not require you to do regular maintenance. They do not require you, of course, we recommend to do regular inspections, but the great advantage of those devices, especially isolators and dampers, is that they can sustain any amount of major earthquake events without the need for replacement. In the case of braces, it's a little bit different in the sense that those braces are used conventional materials, so they have a limited amount of earthquake events they can sustain. But during the lifetime of a structure, in multiple cases, you will not even need to replace them. In terms of cost, no, because that's something that people are always concerned about. Of course, using these type of devices can increase your initial construction costs by up to 5 to 15%. Again, you also need to consider that it depends for what you are designing your structure for, damage or non-damage. But then if there is an earthquake, if there is seismic events, then of course you will have almost no damage compared to a structure with any damage. So you have to take that into account. So I'm running out of time, but just very briefly, want to show you some structure in the world that uses these devices. The Alino Habitat, the tallest building in Japan, the Chamida Tower in Turkey, in Istanbul, developing a bridge retrofitted using seismic isolation. The Utah capital, Salt Lake City, also using isolation. So yeah, thank you very much for your attention.
Thanks so much, Mr. Thomas. We have a Q&A session after all the presentation. And thank you for a powerful presentation. I suppose the concept of minimal damage design is becoming increasingly important in modern seismic engineering, and especially in urban areas like Almaty. Also, we are located in a seismic zone. I suppose that for professors, for business parts of in construction company, it's very interesting part. Thanks so much. Господин Шмайн, наверное, ехать тоже, также хотели поблагодарить, поздравить. Thanks so much for attending and timing and for your both welcoming speech. Thanks so much. The next presentation is devoted to the restoration of the post-industrial territories in the search of sustainable approach to the development of distributed landscapes. Today is especially important not only the rehabilitated former industrial and mining areas, but also to transform them to environmentally safe, functional, and comfortable space. We invite a speaker with the topic restoration of the post-industrial mining landscapes, ecological and sustainable design strategies. Mr. Denis Dole, it's landscape architects from the Pew Art for just. Thanks so much. Sorry for that.
First of all, thank you very much. Thank you very much for the invitation. As my first visit to Kazakhstan, so I'm truly pleased to be here in France and this year, special year of your university. I am a practitioner almost 20 years in Istanbul as a landscape architect, but my interest in starting my undergraduate degree about reclamation and restoration, and I combine my knowledge and interest in urban planning master while I'm doing for technical diploma. So this presentation is upgraded version of my master thesis, which I did in 2010. So we will see the changing of the land if I did research in 2005, so it's been almost like 20 years of changing of the land. We will see in the presentation. So firstly, I would like to address the post-mining landscapes. Post-mining is actually that starts from the beginning of excavation work in the mining areas. So moreover, because it requires extensive technical engineering knowledge and political management, we will aim to develop multidisciplinary working structure as landscape architects and architects. So you see kind of a photo from the famous Turkish photographers, the children enjoy the Bosphorus. As I visited yesterday, Botanical Park, Almaty, how the recreational area is important for the people in the city. So our aim to understand recreational areas and the changing of the land. In 2010, Istanbul was a developing city, so still is developing, but that period it was projects like third airport and third bridge was planning. So I focused that north region of Istanbul for this reason, for expecting population growth. I will shortly describe the mining areas in Istanbul that we have in here. You see, as you see, 5 areas in Istanbul that it is some of them the excavation is finished. So red areas, as you see. Can I stop the slides? Yeah. Yeah. But the third bridge and the third airport were passing from the north side. So some of the mining areas, as you see, stay in the city, but the north side, green, and the seaside is very valuable that we should care about and very delicate area. So when we focus north side, you will see the neighbors, which is connected to post-mining areas. But by the way, some of them are ongoing about 20 years. So what we saw here, as I wrote there on this present slide, is 80% growing happened last 15 years. So Istanbul's population increased from 11 million to 15 million in 10 years, but on those areas, it is 30% in Istanbul population growth, but on those areas and neighborhood, 8% population growth. So, which explains my thesis is in a right place to work on it. So, this area is going to be very important for recreational area that we can protect the forest area. So 2016 project is finished after my research, 6 years, and 8 years after the airport. Yeah, still some of the beaches, recreational areas already created. And when we come to the coastline on the Black Sea, on neighborhoods, then we will see the changing of the land, 2010 2025. So if we see the coastline changing, the black line is 2002, 2010, 2025. Then we see the differences on the coast that sometimes, like as you can see in the image, they turn to the fields and the excavated piece turn back into the fields. So the soil turns upside down. So the environmental effects of the storm quarry is that, as you see in the water quality damaged by mining sector, while the degradation of the coastline affected marine life, fish migration routes, and populations were negatively impacted. And losing the soil that we experienced before in the Kutorma, the same trees of the vegetation didn't grow up because the soil brings from another part of the Turkey or the land that the plants can't grow up with that soil. So existing beaches are destroyed, flora and fauna suffered greatly in that period. I would like to show in the image how the soil affects.
Good.
Yeah. Oops. Maybe it's having the file with the photos. Yeah, as you see in the beaches, how we lost and the materials from the area are not nature for nature, plastic and concrete. So, yeah, it's a little heavy to know. Yeah, there are still people, as you see, they are parking and using it as a recreational area, enjoying the sea. But such a valuable area for now and future, maybe after excavation is ended, but it will be cost to more than normal reclamation or restoration, creating a new landscape area, because not planning before mining areas, before excavation to those areas, is not minimizing the cost of, and also that it is we can't count the value of the environment. So from the first part, that of course we can change those areas and create new parks or beaches, but it costs more and an environmental loss. And you see the different materials like clays, plastics. So in conclusion, what we can think about and plan those areas. Soil layers in excavations must be preserved and properly stocked before excavation. Topsoil must be reused for planting. Steep slopes leading to the sea must be reduced. Processed water and land biodiversity must be protected. Reclamation facilities must be constructed. Proper mining management and recreational use will be minimize the reclamation cost and environmental damage. A strategic plan must be developed and all actors, implementers and supervisors involved in the project must take a part. As you in the charge, like the politicians, governments, universities and the scientists should work in the projects and also engaging with the environmentalists and corporations. So these are the images also like to create concepts how we can change the in the time that I use different tools as a landscape architect, but now we can use even AI how we change the area. So you see then it can be another place in the future. And I got an example from Kazakhstan. Is the, I don't know is the right example because you have a big area. Of course, you have a lot of landscape, beautiful geography, but why not we don't use these areas as a recreational area, or even if not using recreational area, there are other opportunities. This previous photo was from from France. Like more than 50 years query they changed is a adventure park, and this is from different examples for recreational use, but also for the energy use that we can reuse those areas. So when mine finish, the land will be reclaimed, so it can be used again by man or by nature. Therefore, perhaps we should be the ones to decide who will use it and how, as architects, for both human and natural future. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Lisa, for your very insightful presentation. And the experience presented demonstrates that the restoration of the post-industrial territories can become an important tool to environment renewal and sustainable development. Thanks so much for sharing your experience. So the next presentation addresses to the changing to the role of the architects in the era of artificial intelligence and digital transformation. Today, architects are increasingly becoming the coordinator of complex of digital process, combining the creativity, technology, and the data-driven decision-making. And we invite Mr. Mohamed Umaid. I'm sorry?
Zoom online.
Sorry. Yeah, we have a speaker in online, Mohamed Umaid, Director of Almatech Institute of Health and Science from Pakistan. With the presentation topic is architects become career to become an AI orchestrator. The microphone is yours, Mr. Mohammed. Do you hear us? Mr. Mohammed, do you hear us? We hear you.
Hello, good greetings, everyone. I'm Mohammad Umair. I hope you can all hear me.
Yeah, but be louder, please.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Distinguished guests, fellow educators, we are living in a moment where the foundation of professional value is shifting. Today, the half-life of a technical skill is just 2.5 years. In an economy where we generate 2.5 quintillion bytes of data daily, a static degree is no longer a shield. It is a liability. If you're still relying on a linear career path, you aren't just standing still, you are falling behind. My name is Muhammad Umaid. I serve as the director of the Al Fateh Institute of Health Sciences, an institution that operates at the cutting edge of industry standard technology through our partnerships with IBM, Cloudera, Snowflake, Lenovo, and Oracle Academy. Simultaneously, as an ambassador for Daskin, I have dedicated my career to mapping the future of professional resilience. My journey, recently detailed in my writing, Architect Your Career to Become an AI Orchestrator, is backed by a verified footprint of over 1,000 digital credentials from 330 plus issuers, showcasing more than 4,000 verified skills. I don't share these numbers as a trophy case. I share them as a blueprint for the resilient workforce of 2026. We are entering the era of agentic AI. Systems no longer just answer our questions, they execute our workflows. This demands a new kind of practitioner, the AI orchestrator. As I argue in my work, we must stop viewing our careers as ladders and start building them as architectures, stackable, verifiable, and resilient. Over the next 15 minutes, I'll share how to turn industry volatility into career hedge. Let's begin. Power Block 1, the architectural shift, the misconception of the consumer. Most professionals today operate as data consumers. They wait for information to come to them, they consume it, and they hope it remains relevant for as long as possible. But in the age of agentic AI, being a consumer is a death sentence for your career. If you are just consuming information, you are being replaced by the very tools you use. To survive, you must pivot. You must transition from a consumer to an AI orchestrator. The methodology, the bridge. So, how do we bridge the gap? At Alfate, we don't just teach AI, we build with it. We merge two powerful frameworks: IBM data science methodology and enterprise design thinking. Think of it as the hard and soft of the digital era. The IBM methodology gives us the technical rigor, the data scrubbing, the modeling, the deployment, but the enterprise design thinking, that's our compass. It forces us to ask, does this AI actually solve a human problem? Or are we just adding complexity? Research shows that organization integrating these framework reduce development time by 75%. That's not just an efficiency gain, that's a shift in how we approach every single challenge in the industry. The institutional blueprint. This isn't just theory for my team at Alfate. By acting as partners with industry giants like IBM, Snowflake, and Oracle Academy, we are actively orchestrating these workflows. We aren't just teaching our students to use a software, we are teaching them to architect a solution that balances technical grit with stakeholder value. This is how you transform from someone who simply knows AI to someone who orchestrates it to create real world impact. The bridge to the next block. But what does this actually mean for your career? Is this just about doing things faster? No, it's about being more valuable. Because in the next 4 minutes, I'm going to show you why this isn't just an engineering choice, it's an economic imperative that is already redefining the global salary landscape. Power Block 2, the economic ROI of stackable resilience, the skill first hiring revolution. We have talked about how to build like an orchestrator. Now let's talk about the economic reality of the 2026 workforce. We are moving away from the degree only era. Today, 96% of employers state that verified digital credentials strengthen a candidate's profile. But it goes beyond just being strengthened. The market is increasingly offering a 10% to 15% salary premium for those who can prove they hold specialized in demand skills. The power of the stack. My journey of 1000 plus credential isn't just about counting badges, it's about stacking. If you hold a Google project management certificate, you have a baseline. But when you stack that with an ISO IEC 27001 lead auditor credential or a Cisco CyberOps certification, you aren't just a project manager anymore. You are a project manager who understands security, governance, and infrastructure. This is what I call vertical and horizontal career defense, creating immediate authority. In the old academic model, pivoting to a new role took years of retaining. In the stackable architecture model, it takes weeks because your expertise is verified on platforms like Credly. You don't have to convince an employer you know the material. The blockchain backed credential does it for you. This allows you to pivot instantly when the market changes by bypassing the multi year lag of traditional educational cycles. The competitive hedge. Why does this matter for the institutions represented in this room today? Because your students are the ones who need this hedge. Research shows that workers with advanced AI skills already earn 56% more than their peers. By helping our students stack these verified credentials alongside their degrees, we aren't just teaching them, we are protecting them. We are giving them career hedge that no single industry shift can dismantle. Power Block 3, ethical orchestration and the call to action. Trust as the new currency. We have discussed how to build technical workflows and how to hedge your career with stackable credentials. But as an AI orchestrator, most important tool isn't piece of software, it's ethical governance. As AI agents move from assisting us to acting on our behalf, they inherit our blind spots, data bias, allogrammatic opacity, and the black box problem are not just technical glitches, they are systematic threats to education and industry. In the AI driven world, transparency is not optional. It is the only currency that will hold value in the long run. The responsibility of the institution. This is where the synergy of industry and education comes to life. At Al Fateh, we believe that education must stop being a silos. We partner with giants like IBM and Oracle not just to train students on their tools, but to instill a culture of responsible AI. We must teach the next generation that velocity without governance is not progress, it is risk. As educators and leaders, our duty is to ensure that our students aren't just users of AI, but architects who prioritize safety, inclusivity, and ethical integrity. The invitation to learn without limits. I began my journey not just as an expert, but as a curious learner in Rawalpindi, asking why a piece of paper defined a person's worth. Today, I stand as the world's most diversified, digitally credentialed professional, not because I'm a genius, but because I chose discipline over limits. I have collected over 1,000 badges and 4,000 verified skills, not as a trophy case, but as a system of proof. My challenge to you today is simple. Stop waiting for an institution to validate your curiosity. Build your own architecture. The world no longer rewards what you know, it rewards how fast you learn. So, as we leave here today, I invite you to join movement, design your map, find your mirror, and discover what happens when curiosity becomes a disciplined system. Let us not just adopt to the future of AI, let us orchestrate it. This isn't just theory for my team at Al Fateh. By acting as partners with IBM, Snowflake, and Oracle Academy, we are actively orchestrating these workflows. We aren't just teaching our students to use a software, we are teaching them to architect a solution that balances technical grit with stakeholder value. Ultimately, this journey of orchestration is about reclaiming agency. When we talk about Al Fateh's partnership, we aren't just talking about enterprise technology, we are talking about human potential. We are living in a time where the barrier to entry for global influence has been never lower. Yet, the barriers to sustained relevance have never been higher. By adopting this orchestral mindset, we are moving from consumer to architect. You are doing more than just future proofing your career. You are ensuring that in a world increasingly run by autonomous agents, the final
Professor,
decision, the
Professor, sorry
ethical
for
judgment,
interrupt. We have
and
a
the one
limited
creative
time.
remain firmly in human hands. This is the true responsibility of our generation. If you have to take one thing from the keynote, let it this: don't wait for the next industry disruption to force your hand. The infrastructure to build your career hedge is already at your fingertips. Whether you are an educator looking to revitalize your curriculum or a professional feeling the pressure of a 2.5-year skill half life, the path forward is clear. Start stacking, identify one skill gap, bridge it with verified credential, and repeat. Do this not to collect
I'm
badges,
sorry,
but to
Professor
build a
Mohammed.
foundation. This
Professor, do
is
you hear
as
me?
reliable, adaptable, and
Professor,
innovative as AI system we are now learning to orchestrate. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to be here, and I really appreciate this opportunity. Thank you very
Professor
much.
Mohammed, actually, we have a short time to limit for the presentators. So if you are finalizing your speech, we'll be very grateful.
Thank you very much. I am done. My speech is done. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Professor, for your interesting the new role of AI orchestrator. And I suppose that for the auditory, it's very interesting how to combine the new role efficiency of architects and designers and creative vision. Thank you so much for joining us today, Professor.
Thank you. Thank you. It's my pleasure. Thank you very much.
The next presentation is devoted to integrated approach to the seismic safety and risk management. Today, ensuring the safety of building and infrastructure requires not only reliable engineering solutions, but also integration the monitoring system of digital technologies, advanced methods, and seismic protection. We invite Mr. Sadun Tanishan, PhD, Professor, and Deputy General Manager of TIS, Turkey.
Thank you very much, Director. And good morning to everyone. And firstly, I would like to thank KazGASA University and all of its components to kindly invite us to Kazakhstan to participate in this beautiful conference. And I'm here today in front of you as an earthquake engineer and also the Deputy General Manager of TIS Earthquake Technologies. And I will give you a brief talk about the integrated earthquake technologies that we use in almost all the earthquake-prone countries, including Turkey, where we came from, and also in Kazakhstan. I will briefly mention about our company, which is one of the very few earthquake technology producer and also developer in the world, based in Turkey, which started its presence almost more than 10 years ago, with the aim of giving its services from the design of such technologies to the manufacturing, to the installation, and to the after-sales services during its lifetime. And we achieved it with our active R&D department, which I will show you the results of that, based on the earthquake technologies, the evolution of earthquake technologies of such in the world. Firstly, we started as TIS technological isolator system, which with the aim of developing seismic isolation technology to Turkey and to the world. But after several experiences in almost all over the world, with more than 150 projects in 9 years, we entered into an evolution of our company into an earthquake technology company by developing several different technological devices to retrofit of structures, to the protection of cultural heritage, protection of non-structural sensitive equipments, and also the protection of our industrial buildings. But first, I will define this kind of evolution based on this this worldwide definition of protective systems, especially for the new buildings. This sketch was taken from FEMA P58, which is used for seismic assessment of new buildings and existing buildings from the United States. As you see here, the protective system means the seismic isolation system, which protects the buildings, at least for the design level earthquakes. Also, this kind of phenomenon also defines the enhanced system, which may be interpreted as an energy dissipator system, which again protect the buildings and also can protect the building for existing buildings, and also the basic code, which means that the buildings designed as a conventional system. The most important thing in this slide is the consequences after a major earthquake, based on the casualty risk, chance of post-earthquake placer, expected building downtime, and the cost of the building, initial cost and the repair cost. You can see here that the base isolation system is the most enhanced system based on the protection of buildings, especially in terms of the downtime of the building and the cost of repairs and the environmental effects of the repairs. The evolution of earthquake technologies is basically based on this slide. And I will continue with the introduction of several products that we developed and right now manufacture and also used in different parts of the world, which earthquake is the most important risk. Seismic isolator is, as I mentioned, is the most comprehensive earthquake technology that can protect the building from the base. What it means, by enabling the use of seismic isolators, starting from the design and starting from the construction of the foundation, you protect the building and all of its components in order to survive the design level earthquake with zero damage. It means that you can use the building as is after that major earthquake, and nothing happens to your building, nothing happens to the service that you use this building for. And actually, the most important part of this technology is that it is regulated with national and international standards from different parts of the world: Turkey, United States, Europe, Japan, Mexico, Chile. In all earthquake-prone countries, this system is mostly regulated in terms of the design, manufacturing, testing, and industrial use and construction use. And you can see some several practical pictures from the application of isolator. As you see, the isolators are mostly put at the foundation level in order to separate the building from its foundation entirely at all of its locations, so that the building can be protected from every part. You can see several installation pictures of seismic isolators. You can see the application of it at the isolation level, and also on the right you can see the use of isolation for a retrofit project, for retrofit of, let's say, historical clock towers. So the second device type is the structural bearings. It also has some subtypes. They are mostly used to protect the bridges, viaducts, some roofs that large spans should be covered against the hazardous effects of earthquakes. Also, you can see some practical pictures from the construction sites. This was a large incremental launching bridge that we used our spherical bearings in order to protect this very high bridge in southeastern part of Turkey. And this is another incrementally launching viaducts from southeastern part of Turkey, again an earthquake-prone region. And another type of seismic protection device is the buckling restraint braces. They are not a seismic isolation system, but an energy dissipative or enhanced protection system that is most widely used technology type to protect the existing structures. This is not a device type that you use at the foundation, but at the superstructure level, in order to increase its load-bearing capacity by providing additional lateral rigidity and ductility during the earthquakes. You can also see the exploded view of such systems at the right lower part. This yellow part is the steel core that gives the system to the energy dissipation capacity, and this blue cover is used to restrain the buckling under the cyclic loads, under tension and compression. But the most important part of the BRBs that we develop is its reusability. You can only change this blue steel core after a major earthquake with a very small additional cost, and you can reuse your BRBs after a major earthquake, and it gives you a big edge in terms of the economically and also sustainability for environment. You can use several applications for buildings. You can also use this system for retrofit of buildings like office buildings, residential buildings, or the business centers. And for like in this example, you can hide it for the partition walls, or you can use it as an architectural member for your interior parts, and you can use it for existing structures and also newly constructed reinforced concrete structures. It is completely up to you to use it for the building type. For this evolution of seismic technologies, the next device type is this seismic protection deck. This kind of protection decks are used for the protection of sensitive equipments. For example, the servers in data centers and IT departments, you can use it to protect your valuable artifacts in museums, also in electricity racks, in power stations or business centers. Let's say your building is not base isolated, or for a new building, you don't choose to use base isolation, but you want to protect certain equipment, certain stories, or certain levels where you put all of your sensitive equipments, or you have a museum. Because of this architectural restraints, you cannot add base isolation as a retrofit system, but you want to protect your cultural heritage inside this museum. In this case, you can use. Can you start? Next. This is a video. This is from a shaking table test of such systems, and we applied a real earthquake ground motion records and record the effect of this seismic protection bags on a system. You can see the reduction of maximum accelerations in order to protect this sensitive equipment for this electricity track, but you can visualize an artifact or a server rack to be used on top of this kind of systems. You can think of it as a mini isolator system to use for some mini systems. Another device types are used especially for industrial systems where the use of seismic isolation may not be chosen because of the use of this structures. Let's say you have a factory building, a precast factory of precast concrete, or a steel factory, but you still have to protect your factory and all of its very valuable machinery inside this factory, and still your factory can be affected by the earthquake, especially at the end of this members. That kind of beam column connections are right now a very hot topic in earthquake engineering in order to simulate this deformation locations at the end of structural members, and this device called PSS or plastic deformation cells are used to imitate these plastic hinges formed in a frame systems. And also these devices are replaceable after a major earthquake. You can use this deformed members and you can replace it and again reuse this device. I showed you some practical pictures from the constructions, from the site applications, but by using the projects of ours from real cases, I want to show you the use of seismic isolation for different building types. The hospitals are the most widely used building types in Turkey and in most of the world. You can see several examples of large hospitals from Turkey, from Italy. Also bridges and viaducts are very important lifeline structures that should be protected during major earthquakes. You can see several bridges and viaducts with different architectures. Also commercial and industrial buildings are the core of our economical life in our countries. You can see different, again, building types, data centers and fertilizer types. Especially data centers are the commercial building types that the base isolation became a standard during the development and the design phase. Also, residential buildings are on the rise for use of seismic isolation, especially in Turkey after the earthquake that we experienced 3 years ago. Most widely used building types actually became a residential building, whether it is a very, very large residential site with maybe tons of different blocks to a single building in a neighborhood. Seismic isolation is the one that starts to become standard in Turkey. And last but not the least, the retrofit of historical monuments in Turkey, in Italy, maybe in Japan. The seismic isolation is one of the retrofit techniques that I use to protect the system. In summary, I try to show you the evolution of earthquake technologies based on several aspects. What are those? For different hazard levels, whether it is a large earthquake or a surface level earthquake, for different structure types or equipment types or cultural heritage artifacts, for the safety of the occupants or of our buildings, our equipments, and for the security of our society, for the protection of the past and our future, and again, last but not the least, for the sustainability of our nature. We think that engineering should level up with different earthquake technologies. And thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tarun Rachel. Yeah, it's a very interesting part and interesting technologies and equipment. And also, I want to say a big thank you to TIS company, Mr. Sadun. Their share with the seismic isolators with our universities. And after the panel session, you can see the newest seismic isolators in our laboratories. It's a very important present from TIS to our university. Thanks so much, colleagues. Also, the next presentation also is devoted to the relationship between artificial intelligence and art, and as well as transformation of creative processes. I want to give the word to Mr. Gurcan Akyüz. The floor is yours.
Good morning and Assalamu alaikum. Let me first someone salute to the ceremony and give him applause and positivism I salute you. Distinguished director, esteemed participants, academics, speakers, and ladies and gentlemen, I greet you all with respect and affection. My paper based on a subjective case. Most of the pictures are created by myself, and I will show them and explain the historical transformation in town. But first, I have to learn these works. Okay. In religious systems, they say everything starts with light, but in visual world, everything starts with the unit of dot. But I will explain introduction first. The relationship between art and technology has always been dynamic. With each era, introduction new tools that shape creative expression. Artificial intelligence represents one of the most profound transformations in the history of art, altering not only how art is produced, but also how it is preserved, created, and theorized. This transformation can be better understood by examining the fundamental role of line in the art history and the emergence of digital aesthetic as a new artistic language in the 21st century. It goes very fast. Can we go back? Yeah. The fundamental role of the line in art history is as you see, everything starts with the dot, and when the dot moves, it gets different shapes, line, surface, form, and space, of course. The line in the first art objects and drawing and carving techniques in the Paleolithic period, line linear mass made on stone, bone, and concrete, but decorative and symbolic functions. It also has some geometrical orders and communicative dimensions. This picture of a cross which marks on the orchid, it's named orchid stone, as the prehistoric art. These marks are regarded as the earliest drawn sign of a human history, which is dated around 70,000 years ago. Nine the cave paintings, figurative representations, movement and dynamism and symbolic functions can be explained with this picture. I will show on the screen. The conceptual dimension of line. From the very beginning of the art history, the line has been both an ontological and epistemological tool. Ontologically, it defines the boundaries of existence. Epistemologically, it makes visible the way humans conceptualize the world. Thus, the line has served as the most fundamental building block of art, creating a shade of expression across cultures. Machine learning and neural network. I respectfully commemorate the Turkish scientist. Actually, he worked for the Middle East Technical University, which my friends are coming from there. The Professor Cahit Arf, who gave a lecture entitled Can Machine Think and How Can They Think in September 1958. It's before the popularization of the artificial eye, but he gave a seminar. He's one of the pioneers of the artificial intelligence in Turkey. The 21st century introduces machine learning and neural networks, enabling a system to analyze vast data sets and produce artworks that mimic or reinterpret human styles. Projects demonstrated i.e. capacity to generate surreal, stylistic, derived images. The development of Spark database debates about authorship, originality, and the role of the artist. This is one of my picture I did created in 1989, while the time of my academic life. The use of AI in art and the tracked back to the mid-20th century. Then early computer scientists and artists experimented with algorithmic process. Pioneers developed programs which generated tracked algorithms. These early works questioned and boundaries between human creativity and machine autonomy. Digital revolution and expansion. This is again one of my picture I did in 1990, and it's a picture of my wife. She's in here also. The rise of personal computing in 1980s and 1990s expanded the possibilities of digital art. Artists began to integrate computerization systems into their practice, exploring generative art, interactive installations, and multimedia projects. This period marked the transition from AI as the tool to AI as a collaborator in the creative process. Digital aesthetics and the new language of art. With this picture, I got a prize of our state composition. It was the first digital picture won the award in our Turkish art history. Digital aesthetics marks a profound transformation in contemporary art, redefining both the formal and conceptual dimensions of art through technological tools. It is not merely a technique but a new expressive language. Digital aesthetics emerged in the 1960s with early experiments in computer-assisted art and developed under the umbrella of the media art in the 1990s. With the spread of the internet, artists began to use digital tools not only for production, but also as critical instruments. Conceptual framework of digital aesthetics, code and algorithm-based production, interactive and valuable structures, integration of virtual reality, augmented reality, and artificial intelligence, visual authoring, and unity and multimedia use. Characteristic of digital aesthetics, simulation and reality, interaction and participation, definition of time and space, data aesthetics, based on this part. And also artificial intelligence and art. These are my first artificial intelligence, which is I use the artificial intelligence on my artworks. These are unreal. My aim was to show unreal. Artificial intelligence introduces a new paradigm with digital aesthetics, artworks generated by algorithms, change the boundaries between human creativity and machine intelligence. This raises questions such as I an artist or merely a tool? How are concepts of originality and intention transformed? How does the relationship between ethics and aesthetic evolve? Cultural and institutional shifts. AI has not only transformed artistic production but also cultural practices. Museums and galleries now employ AI for cataloging, audience engagement, and predictive analytics. AI-driven creation challenges traditional motion of expertise, raising question that the balance between human judgment and algorithmic recommendations. And this is totally created by i.e. it's not painted by an artist, but it's a it looks like a classical artwork, but it's created by prompts by myself to show this as an example to you. Second one, okay. Ethical and philosophical dimensions. The integration of AI into art raises profound ethical and philosophical questions. Issues of ownership, authenticity, and bias in training database highlights the complexity of machine creativity. Philosophers and theorists debate whether AI-generated works can possess intentionally or emotionally, or whether they remind reflections of human input. Too fast. Sorry, I have the diagrams. Okay, I am here. And when I was searching your university's website, I came across with lots of artificial images, but when the candidates search, they want to see, of course, the evidence of what you have as a facilities, not the artificial created images. And global impact of and future directions. When I was painting my first digital arts 30 years ago, most of the critics in Turkey was asking to me, the computer doesn't reflect the emotions of human being. But nowadays we can see the emotions are created not by the paint or different tools of the classical tools, but the prompts. I can create the images like this with only prompts. It looks like a Rembrandt or Caravaggio's paintings. And also you can see the different sort of emotions, and you can see the between the two images shows after 37 years difference between these two images created by myself. And conclusion, Artificial intelligence represents a historical transformation in art, bridging technology and creativity in unprecedented ways. It challenges traditional definitions of authorship, expands professional practices, and opens philosophical debates. The foundations are of the line in art history and the emergence of digital aesthetic as a new aesthetic language, provide critical context of understanding this transformation. As AI continues to evolve, its role in art will remain a critical side of innovation, reflection, and dialogue. Acknowledgements. I would like to express sincere gratitude to the organizers of International Scientific and Practical Conference, Digital Architecture, Construction, and Artificial Intelligence for the Creative Economy, for providing an inspiring platform to present my paper. Special thanks to extended to colleagues, Director Bakhtiar Sabdeneriev. What's it? Yeah. And dear Turar, dear Dekan Turar Uzakbayev, actually he was guiding me yesterday and before yesterday. And dear Gunnar Yobreshana, and she was in Cyprus when we met with her 10 years ago, and our friendship still continuing. Thank to her. And dear Alina Karpina, she was communicating with us in different languages. And also collaborators who contributed valuable insights during the preparation of our participation from Turkey. And the last word is the happiness and success are in our hands. The most beautiful tool ever created, not the ID. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you for the engaging presentation and sharing with us with your AI works around the more than 30 years. First and last one. Thanks so much. The next presentation is focused on the role of digital innovation in the development of sustainable and circular construction. I will invite Assistant Professor PhD Serek Kokbola from University of Nottingham, United Kingdom. Please, the floor is yours.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, I would like to congratulate the university with such an important date. It's quite a milestone, and I hope that you will take your wonderful work to the near future and disrupt the industry after seeing all these innovative discussions we're discussing today. So my topic today will be about digital innovations as drivers for sustainable and circular construction. As some of you might have already mentioned, today we're facing global challenges of climate change, as well as environmental degradation and resources depletion. So in terms of my presentation, I would like to start with the fact that climate change is an alarming detrimental process which is causing dramatic changes to our everyday lives. I think most of us, from whatever country we come from, we've experienced impacts of climate change. And I would like to add here that globally, buildings and infrastructure that we all work with are responsible for about 40% of all global carbon emissions. So the more emissions we have in the atmosphere, the more the climate gets warmer. So what I usually say to my students, if you would like to save the planet, start with buildings, because more or less half of all global emissions is coming from the buildings that we work with. So in my research, my presentation will be based mostly on my research that I conduct. It is about system-based approach when we try to reduce carbon emissions of the built environment during construction, during maintenance and use, as well as reconstruction. So first one is based on building design optimization for unit energy use and sustainability, and also development of sustainability and circularity as effort tool. My father was, and still is, I think, he's a civil engineer. My mother is economist and civil engineer. So I grew up seeing my parents discussing construction projects. We have built 2 homes ourselves. Some bits of them were reused materials. We did a lot of circular economy stuff. But what I was fascinated about that all that knowledge was in my father's head. he didn't use any simulation tools whatsoever, and he did circular economy and sustainability stuff by his head. But now we can do all these things using softwares and digital tools. So one of the tools that I use with my students, and I highly recommend it to you guys as well, is to use Design Builder or Energy Plus. When you create the model of your building in a software, and then you have an opportunity to integrate all the key parameters to the building, including the climate parameters, and then run simulations. So 5,000 simulations, 10,000 simulations, and then you can predict energy consumption of your building, whatever building is located. So for example, I took an example from Kazakhstan. I used to live in Astana, so it's quite a cold place, so energy efficiency is a big issue. So you start rotating the building, for instance, and then you realize that certain directions of the building are maybe like 20% more energy efficient, for example. So instead of doing the work with students on a paper, or to have the designers draw their buildings on paper, you can simulate buildings like this. This is another project where we built a model of a building, validated the model, and then once the actual measurements and the performance of the model proved to be reliable, we can start changing certain parameters, particularly design parameters in the building, and see how it is impacting the energy consumption. Okay? So for instance, you can increase or decrease the wall insulation, insulation conductivity, U factor, infiltration rates, and so on. And then you can see how it's impacting the energy consumption of the building over the year that you're looking at. Okay? So you don't have to go build the building and experiment with it as it exists. You can actually do it all in your simulations. Another problem that we have, in particular in the north of Kazakhstan, is cold climates and quite windy climate as well. So we want to see how building shape and buildings sort of configuration or building orientation affect the comfort around the building. Because that has a lot of impact on how people feel, both inside and outside the buildings. So using computational fluid dynamics, you can conduct research like this. Then also that can inform how buildings should be positioned or how they should be shaped. Now, another part of my research is also to understand the society, the technologies that we have, the awareness of construction professionals and legislation in terms of promoting sustainability. So we try to create sustainability assessment tools. So, and a huge part of that is technological development. We ask construction professionals what they think about the key drivers and barriers of sustainable construction, based on the extensive literature review on various workshops and roundtables. We come up with lists of indicators which are then normalized or weighted, and then we come up with sustainability assessment tools. So as you might know, some of the assessment tools that exist at the moment, they're expensive. You need to bring foreign experts. But we also can produce our own assessment tools, which are much cheaper and accessible. Okay, now I would like to talk about the next part of my research, which is about embodied carbon, which is about decarbonizing the infrastructure. So all the solutions we have spoke about today, they're fantastic, but what environmental price do they have? So life cycle assessment is one of the topics that is at the forefront of civil engineering at the moment. Circularity, sustainability, integration with BIM, design and assembly, and use and recycling materials, which forms circular economy. So I had to start with this graph initially, but I think it's more timely here. So on that graph, you can see the global temperature increasing over the last 150 years or so. And then you can see that it's directly correlated with the carbon emissions in the atmosphere. Чем больше выхлопов в атмосфере, тем жарче на нашей планете. So what kind of emissions we have? There are different types of emissions. To make it simple, we convert everything into CO2 equivalent. Углекислый газ. There is one famous saying: you can't manage something if you can't measure. So let's give us some numbers. So for example, global carbon footprint, глобальный footprint, или как сказать, углеродный след, 31,5 тысяч гигатонн CO2 эквивалентного года. 31.5 gigatons of CO2. In the UK, where I live at the moment, it's 770 million tons of CO2. В Англии 770 миллионов тонн CO2 выделяется. Per person, 4.8 tons of CO2 equivalent per year. На человека почти 5 тонн. Каждый из нас, каждый год вырабатывает. And then overall buildings are responsible for about 40%. And buildings are здания ответственны за 40%. Now, how do we cut those emissions? It's not enough to think about it when the building has been completed. We need to think about it from the design and conception stage throughout all the life cycle stages. You might have come across with the L3 tool. Оценка жизненного цикла, наверное, все слышали, когда каждый этап строительства здания оценивается, чтобы CO2 сократить на каждом шагу. Только так можно в конце сократить CO2. The methodology is quite well established. You basically look at every single step of the life of the building when you extract the materials. Стандартной модели, in the standard model, we do linear economy, да? Мы берем ресурсы, используем, выкидываем, берем ресурсы, используем, выкидываем. При циркулярной экономике, environmental sustainable way, нам нельзя так делать, нам нужно на каждом шагу думать, как сберечь ресурсы, заново их не использовать, чтобы заново их использовать и предотвратить появление нового CO2. So these are the life cycle stages that we should pursue. And we need to think about all those emissions that have to be taken into consideration. So there are different scopes, scope 1, scope 2, scope 3, emissions that are created directly by us, by services that we use, or external emissions. For example, I came this morning to the university by a bus. Do I calculate that emission as the emission of this conference or not? We need to think about it, yeah? So, я просто говорю, утром на автобусе приехал, это CO2, как CO2 конференции считать или не считать, вот вопрос, да? Первое, второе, это то, что мы здесь сейчас используем. А то, что автобус, это уже надо подумать. Поэтому this approach, этот метод требует глубокой аналитики. So this is the result of one LCA study, when you basically put all your materials into the software, again, digital technologies, and then you can see which materials are creating the most emissions. And then you can go and change those materials, of course, without sacrificing the quality of the building to reduce the overall carbon footprint. Берем смету, инвентарь, все материалы, все строительные работы в программу загружаем, считаем CO2 и понимаем, колонны самые тяжелые, бетон, металл. Можем ли мы заменить, можно ли использовать другие материалы, которые там переработаны, например, и так далее. Just to finalize my presentation, I would like to say that I have about 10 PhD students. Most of them are currently working on integrating BIM tools with sustainability and circularity assessment plugins and tools. Yeah. So we want to make sure that our students or engineers, they make decisions as they plan and design their buildings, so that the ultimate design has a positive carbon footprint. Когда проектируем здание, в Revit, в AutoCAD, во всех других софтах, мы хотим внедрять плагины, которые показывают нам информацию по выбросам, по цене, по использованию материалов, чтобы конечный проект был зеленый. Потому что как только вы его построите, что-то изменить будет очень сложно. Самый зеленый проект, это который вы не строите, считается. Если строительство неизбежно, нужно проектировать правильно и строить правильно. В итоге, чем меньше CO2 в нашем здании будет в течение всей его жизни, тем лучше для окружающей среды. Это моя миссия, и призываю вас тоже этой миссией заразиться и изменить этот мир. I wish all of us to get infected with this idea of decarbonization so that our planet has a great future. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the wonderful presentation. This except one. You're right, the digital solution are becoming one of the key factors of transition toward more sustainable, efficient, and environmentally responsible construction practices. So it's our last speaker in our panel session. We invite Mr. Deme Franseve with the devoted experience and activities of GIS, technological layer systemleri, and during the February of 6 earthquakes in Turkey. Thanks so much.
Good afternoon, dear professors, academicians, ladies and gentlemen. This is Beyhan Sever, coming from Turkey, Ankara, and TNS Earthquake Technologies, working as Deputy General Manager. You already see a couple of different presentations about base isolation. I will try to give you a brief introduction about base isolation, and then I will try to focus earthquake February 6, 3 years ago in Turkey, and the performance of seismic isolators, different types of isolators, and I will try to mention and then conclude the session. Here is a presentation. You can see the difference. There's very different. The left one is the convention. And the right one is, as you see, there was a friction panel type of seismic isolators, 4 isolators, and you can see the difference, the behavior difference actually between two structures. The aim is real simple. You put a structure as a point, structural and non-structural components as together against the static effects of earthquakes, the horizontal walls, revolutions, displacements, and protect structure itself. And next one is a video. This shows the behavior in the seismic isolated hospital during an earthquake. We can see the occupational self to be used structure after or maybe during an earthquake, because the horizontal wall relations are really decreased, which absorbs, and we can see the periods larger and the effects are decreasing. The idea is really simple. Dividing structure into 2 sublayer isolators and then the substructure first structure. And you can protect structure with this technology, as you see. And with all this information, I will try to give you a brief introduction. In Turkey, how can we apply it? What's the compulsory things in Turkey? And seismic isolation in Turkey has been defined in laws since 2018, based on the Turkish earthquake laws. And since the 1990s, there have been approximately more than actually 300 buildings, especially after the 6 February earthquakes. The residential buildings amount decreased really. And since 2030, it's compulsory to apply this system in hospitals. And it depends on the regulation. And more than 100 beds constructed in seismic zones with peak ground information larger than 0.3 G. It's a quite good value. And the main goal, as I said previously, the main goal is ensure all hospitals are fully operational immediately after an earthquake, or maybe during an earthquake, not for just life safety, also keep providing operations during an earthquake. And as all you know, 3 years ago, we unfortunately experienced 2 different earthquakes, 2 major earthquakes in Kahramanmaraş, 6 February. And it was a significant turning point to experience first time for friction pendulum type seismic isolators were tested in a real world earthquake. And all structures, 12 structures in that region, hospitals, performed well. And just after earthquake, we sent our technical teams to the site, the construction sites, and get some observations, and then reported to government and to public. And all of devices has successfully passed with several earthquakes, 2 different major earthquakes. And as a part of this project by the government, Ministry of Health, actually, we want to see test. We want to see performance after earthquake and after the installation, couple of years of installation.
and confirm the previous test results and return values. And then we decided to select the hospital, and we lifted the structure and to dismantle the remove the seismic isolator to test and compare the results to 5 years ago tested. And then we sent directly from the construction site, we sent the device directly to the laboratory and to compare the results, and nothing is changed. They're all same. The horizontal, you can see the horizontal move, horizontal force graph, and the results are quite effective. And in that region, we designed and installed, manufactured isolators for 8 different hospitals. Adıyaman, Hatay, maybe you remember these names, these city names, the provinces. Malatya, Osmaniye, Maraş, Kahramanmaraş, the center actually. And there was 2 difference above the earthquake. One is Pazarcık center, 7.8, the other one is same province, Elbistan, and 7.5. 2 separate tectonic activities occurred, and more than 5 aftershocks, magnitude greater than 6. You can see the red dots for our hospitals in that region, and you can follow the epicenters, the yellow ones, yellow stars actually. It's really close to the epicenter. And just after on the evening of the earthquake, on 6 February and a couple of days later, you can see that the structures keep providing safety, and most of the people are using for shelter, the shelter structure, and so on. Good experiment actually for all the structures. You can see the painted covers, painted glasses are still safe and steady. And in that region, actually, 12 hospitals were located close to the epicenters, 2 different epicenters, but most of them are under construction, not finished, not completed, not in service state. And actually, 4 of them are really close and affected by the earthquake. And based on these observations from the site and from the design parameters of the isolators, we published actually last year. We published based on these analysis models. We tried to observe the difference and reduction level. What was the observation capacity? What was the reduction in observation and displacement capacity? And we modeled the structure. And you can see the parameters, design parameters of isolators, the design displacement, maximum displacement, and displacement capacity of designs for that structure. We measured in the site 170 kilometers, and based on monthly peak observation was 0.4 G, and thanks to the isolators actually, observation that we can follow from here, the point is almost 75, and there was a 80% reduction. And there was nothing in the structure, there was no problem. All structural and non-structural components are stable. And that's all for today. Thank you. Thank you for your attention.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much. It's a really important experience for us. After this big experience in Turkey, and also for our construction company, our professors, how we can use seismic isolators in that type of very hard period, and also in the social objects. Thanks so much. Dear guests, dear colleagues, now we have a discussion and Q&A session. If you have any questions to our speakers, please welcome. Yes, please.
Всем приветствую. Карел Кун, Казах Теленок Кужермен. So I will finish in English if you don't mind. Thank you for organizers, for reporters, for such spectacular conference. My name is Dmitry Zenkov, and I'm
remote sensing, civil engineer, and photogrammetry specialist. So my favorite tool is unmanned aerial vehicle, and thanks to that, I can collect a lot of spectatable and verified data, which also helped me to create Moscow digital twin in 2020 to 2022. But now, because of the modern war, community and government used to see that just as weapon. And because of that, I lost that source of information. Now I just cannot get this data, and because of that, I cannot finalize my PhD job, which is devoted to monitoring the structuring process. And my question is, which future do you see for unmanned aerial vessels in structuring process? Thank you.
Thank you for the question. For whom this question also? Maybe for experts? Yeah. Вы можете, наверное, на русском еще продублировать, потому что вот здесь есть профессора, которые могут вам ответить конкретно на вопрос.
Ввиду того, что сейчас дроны и в целом средства, которые управляются с воздуха, воспринимаются исключительно таким образом, как элемент войны, хотя на самом деле я вижу в этом бесконечный ресурс для сбора актуальной информации, достоверной, которую можно проверить. Достаточно сложно получить необходимое разрешение для проведения аэрофотосъемки как таковой. Одни запреты и так далее. Вот. Я хотел бы спросить у экспертов, каким, собственно, в Казахстане и в мире вы видите будущее по использованию дронов, БПЛА, БВС, как там по-разному называют, в строительстве и архитектуре. Спасибо.
Спасибо, отличный вопрос. Ну, в целом, я могу вам, наверное, вкратце ответить, как мы это делаем в KazGASA. У нас уже второй год существует лаборатория дронов, беспилотных летательных систем. И в рамках данной лаборатории сейчас у нас имеется сертификат от авиакосмического агентства, авиационного агентства, где, обучившись, вы можете уже управлять беспилотными летательными системами, получать допуск. Есть 3 уровня сертификации в зависимости от объема дрона, то есть как килограмма. И помимо этого у нас есть также несколько программных софтов, где сейчас студенты, наши молодые ученые, докторанты исследуют объекты, гидротехнические объекты, строительные объекты, снимают их. Вот у нас студенты научились с помощью искусственного интеллекта, уже создавая облако точек, через искусственный интеллект определять трещины, то есть автоматически. Если у вас есть интерес научный в этом направлении, мы вас приглашаем в нашу лабораторию дронов, чтобы вы могли завершить свои исследования и в целом дальше развить это направление технологий. Как раз вот во время брейка вечером у нас будут открыты все лаборатории, экскурсии. У нас есть заведующие кафедры, заведующие лабораториями, относятся к школе инженерии. Так что мы вас приветствуем и можем показать, какие проекты реализуют наши ученые и студенты. Спасибо. Any questions?
Yes. Я прекрасно понимаю твою проблему, да, потому что тоже нас в Испании так бывает, да, но тоже ректор очень правильно сказал, что для этого надо аккредитацию получить. Хорошо? Мы в Испании так делаем. Одинаково. У нас есть аккредитация, и можешь потом, так сказать, руководить дроном. Да? И это первое. И второй, я понял, что ты служил водой, да? Или что-то, не знаю.
точно, что ты зачем хочешь использовать, да? Но в Испании все данные, они открыты. Ты можешь использовать, когда хочешь, когда захочешь, можешь использовать. Не знаю, может быть, здесь по-другому работает, но в Испании очень хорошо работает. Поэтому это наш опыт там в Испании. Хорошо?
Well, just add 2 words. I think when it comes to unmanned vehicles or artificial intelligence in general, we are facing the issue of ethics at the moment. Because if we don't have like ethical rules or regulations how to use all these technologies, then of course some people might violate and use them in the wrong direction. So if all that legislation and rules are in place, then I don't see any harm in any technology. Просто на русском скажу, что если у нас этические правила, все законы будут выстроены так, что людям не надо будет переживать и спокойно использовать и дроны, и искусственный интеллект и так далее, так как они помогают нашему технологическому прогрессу. И это будет тоже мнение людей и общества менять.
Спасибо. Спасибо большое, уважаемые профессора. Я надеюсь, ответ получили, но в целом в дискуссии можете детально уже свои научные интересы обсудить. Спасибо. Dear colleagues, any questions? I suppose we have a great presentations and give the full information from our speakers. And for the conclusion, before the conclusion, I want to give for the remark or words to the director to the developing IPR smart groups from Russian Federation, Kutueva Vita Viktorina. Please, the floor is yours.
Здравствуйте, уважаемые участники конференции. Очень неожиданно я заслушалась, честно говоря, чуть забыла, зачем вообще пришла. Пришла, в общем-то, поздравить наших уважаемых партнеров, Казахскую строительную академию, с кем мы сотрудничаем, работаем уже 10 лет. А наша компания является IT-компанией, и в том числе издательство. И мы издаем книги по строительству очень много и в этом направлении. И я так думаю, что студенты этого университета, преподаватели, они прекрасно знают наши цифровые ресурсы, какая-то смарт, сколько мы хотим искренне, прям искренне от всей души, от компании, от себя лично, потому что 10 лет назад я перешагнула порог этого университета, и на моих глазах отстраивалось это шикарное здание, ремонтировалось. И как-то вот вроде бы из России, но, честно говоря, очень как-то душевно для меня этот университет, на самом деле, и он уникальный просто. Единственный университет в Казахстане, который ориентируется исключительно на факультеты и так далее, исключительно на строительство. Спасибо вам огромнейшее за наше сотрудничество. Мы хотим вам подарить коллекцию книг по строительству, архитектуре, геодезии, инженерии, искусственному интеллекту, строительстве в том числе, потому что у нас компания специализируется тоже на искусственном интеллекте, и в нашей электронной библиотечной системе мы буквально на днях уже пресс-релиз сделали, и будет этот искусственный интеллект. Вот, так что спасибо вам большое за сотрудничество. Мы вас реально очень любим, уважаем и надеемся, что наше партнерство будет еще длиться очень долго. Спасибо большое.
Спасибо. And for the conclusion, I want to invite all our speakers for the center. And we have some ceremony. Dear colleagues, distinguished guests, dear partners, thank you for again, thank you so much for your having time to visit us, to support us, to organizing this conference, for your outstanding presentations and sharing your experience, information with our colleagues, with our students. We'll very grateful, gratitude for your having time and sharing our anniversary also. And for this historical moment, we'll want to give you the special medal for the 45th anniversary from our university. Our organizers.
Mr. Sadun Kanishan. Mr. Demirhan Sever. Miss Gülfediroğlu Göksu. Mr. Thomas Bruin. Miss Vlada Nikiforova. Mr. Iljan Shakirbayev. Mr. Yılmaz Ali Burak. Mr. Magelo Bayram. Mr. Dauliyat Kerala Isentay. Mr. Shukran Arnoldiak Ukayevich. Miss Елена Михайловна Сурова. Miss Denise Güler. Mr. Pavel Urbanavichuk. Mr. Selim Toprak. Mr. Yerhali Vladimirovich Daudov. Mr. Azamat Hasanov. Miss Kotabaeva Saltanat Kotabaeva. Mr. Shampoy Mustafoyev. Miss Tatiana Alexandrovna Shumakova. Mr. Iskenderov Ulamir Fodorfekovich. Mr. Ignacio Menendez.
Choose my book? No, I'm choosing that. No? Huh?
Mr. Abdini Abdini.
Please group photo. Group photo with guests. Exo Hanum, please. Group photo with all guests, please.
Давайте один раз вот так сверху, потом чуть повыше возьмите, повесите.
Давайте теперь вот здесь вот сфотографируемся. Давайте повыше снимайте, только мне
Значит, чуть повыше.